It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand.
Good morning. Welcome once again to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning, Tony. You know, right before the show, we were talking about this issue of how hard it is to find people to do maintenance work. You know, and we have a property where we're looking for someone to be an on-site manager, and the people that are applying. On the sheet, it all looks good.
On their application.
Sure. But I swear the ones that we say, hey, you know, I think this might be a go, then we do the background check.
Right. And what are you finding?
And what the application giveth, the background check taketh away. I had someone who came into my office today and said, Gene, should we hire this person? And like I said, when there are 4 or 5 pages to this person's background.
Criminal history is what you're talking about. Yeah.
It doesn't look pretty.
No, it doesn't. It kind of almost doesn't matter what those issues are when it's 4 pages long.
So what happened the last time you were
we run
something?
criminal background screening all the time on renters. It's very routine. And I think I've decided renters will lie about that when they're applying because they've been through a screening where maybe the bad thing didn't show up. Maybe it wasn't a thorough enough screening or something like that. So they think, well, or they just hope it won't show up. Uh-huh. They just hope it won't show up. Well, I had a guy who called me every hour about his background screening because he had told me he had a criminal thing 3 years ago. Uh-huh. Clean since then, no problem. I said, okay, well, I'll look at it. So he called me every hour to see if I'd gotten it back yet, and because he was anxious. And I finally did get it back, and it turns out he had some kind of assault conviction 6 months earlier. So I said to him, "What? You said 3 years ago. Here's one 6 months ago." And his response was, "Tony, how am I supposed to keep track of my criminal record?" So I guess that's a common problem for criminals. They have trouble keeping track of their record.
Yes, and unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Hey, well, folks, we also have an unbelievable day today here on the show. We've got some great stories. We're going to begin with a story, an investigative I-team from Channel 3, CBS News, is reporting that a homeowner in an association is claiming the management company has done nothing. A big story. Another one that we're going to be picking up from Florida. There's a big issue here with the West Melbourne Homeowner Association versus the Boy Scouts of America.
Oh my gosh, that sounds big.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And then we've got all kinds of good stuff. We've got a golf cart owner who thumbs his nose at the HOA as he drives by, and so many more stories here. That's just a little tip of the iceberg, a teaser, if you will, of today's show. But today, right now, it is time for Property Management in the News. And Property Management in the News, of course, is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, you want to call someone who's responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. That would be Greg Keener at Pest Control Services, the number 952-894-9748. That's 952-894-9748, Pest Control Services. Well, let's begin, Tony, with this first one. The investigative, the I-team, says that a homeowner's claim that the management company, about his management company and about an insurance claim, and they did nothing to help at all. Okay? And this comes out of Newington, Connecticut, WFSB, Eyewitness News Channel 3, a CBS affiliate. They just came out recently, a few days ago, and we're talking about a story of a gentleman named Art Boyle who lives in a condominium association. And apparently we're talking about something that happened last year. Or no, I guess this would happen this year because they had a lot of snow, didn't they, already?
In Connecticut?
Yeah, or they did. I think all
yeah.
along the East Coast there was a dumping of like 30, 40 inches some places.
Holy
cow.
So
this is, I was thinking last year, this is this year.
Wow.
As the snow piled up on the roof of Art Boyle's Newtonton condominium, he said he called the management company for his building. Now, the company has 14,000 units under management, and it says eventually crews were sent out to try to get snow off of the roof, but by then it was too late. Already it's making it sound as if there was nothing that the management company could do that could be quick enough, doesn't it?
Well, it's very subjective. Eventually they came out, and you brought this up when we were talking about the story earlier. What does eventually mean?
Yeah.
Does it mean hours, days, weeks? That's very subjective.
We've gone through that before. We've talked about it in past shows too, where in our office there are a lot of key phrases like that or words. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks they know what they mean like right away. I'll get on that right away. What does that mean?
That's right.
Boy, that's really old. What is old?
So what does that mean?
That's really expensive. What's expensive? And so this idea eventually, you're right, very subjective. It gives the appearance, though, that they kind of took their time getting out there.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like, they were, the way it's worded, sounds like they were negligent.
But, of course, the management company is going to have to, they can't just spend money for an association. They've got to talk to the board. They've got to get approval.
And we know these snow dam issues and the ice dam issues are not affecting just one unit. They could be affecting the entire property. So then you have to start coordinating an effort. You don't send someone out to just remove snow from one home. You coordinate the effort to get the most for your money.
So anyway, it says melting snow had leaked into his unit. Okay, that's unfortunate. He had tarps up since the storm from last year. So, we had heavy snows last year too. Covering up heavy-duty mold that you can practically taste as soon as you step inside. Now, that sounds bad. If you can almost taste the mold, that's bad.
Yeah.
They said there's one spot where there's a hole rotted away that's big enough to reveal the backside of the vinyl outside of the siding.
Oh, dear. Oh,
and things are warped, wood floors, and all this.
It sounds very bad. And I think, Gene, that this occurred last year. I think the leaking
a
occurred
lot of the
last year
damage, but then there's probably something this year, too, maybe that happened.
Could
But
be.
anyway, he says, my wife and I have been literally at each other's throats. No doubt. There's a little bit of a stressor. I guess in the words of Dr. Gary Solomon, this would be HOA syndrome.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, he said it's torn my wife apart. It would anybody. He said the aggravation of this. He says there's delays in getting the problem fixed. And it started, here we go, when an insurance adjuster came last March. Now, Boyle is an adjuster himself. He disagreed with the estimate. And that started the months of fighting over how much it would cost and who would do the work.
Hold on here a minute. So all of the delays and the problems started when he disagreed with the insurance adjuster about the scope of damages. So how come the headline is about the management company not helping this guy? What the heck?
That's a non sequitur, isn't it? It makes no sense. You get this idea that someone else is to blame, and here's the issue. Here's the gentleman. He's an adjuster himself.
Yeah.
And so when
right there is the potential for conflict, right?
Oh yes, we're talking about someone who wants to represent himself. That's like a lawyer wanting to represent himself in court.
And actually, he should be very knowledgeable about this process. He should be really knowledgeable about what he can and can't do. And certainly, if I had the expertise, I'd use it to my advantage.
Well, of course. And there's nothing wrong with that in trying to maintain that things are going to be consistent and done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't turn this into something around just to your own advantage. And I think that's what he was trying to do here. It said Boyle has been battling with the Apple Hill Homeowners Association, battling with his insurance company, and battling with Imagineers. That's the name of the property management company.
Mm-hmm.
So he's battling with everybody. What's the one consistent in this story?
What's the common denominator?
It's
Denominator.
Boyle. Yeah. And he admits to letting his anger get the best of him at times.
Okay, all right. Well, that's
no
big
question.
of him.
He said it's turned ugly. He said so much so that now attorneys are involved. He said, I'm not allowed to speak to anybody at the association or management company unless it goes through an attorney.
Well, I've been there before.
Well, folks, we've got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue on with this story of Mr. Congeniality after these messages.